This is MRN Out Loud on MRN.com, presented by Bloomin' Mondays at Outback Steakhouse. And also brought to you by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
MRN Out Loud, presented by Outback Steakhouse, a special Memorial Day edition as we get set to race at Pocono and then Michigan after that. Tyler Reddick, the defending Xfinity Series champ, joins us in the studio. And I just noticed this, as much as I've done this show, when they're revving the engine in there, it sounded like a sports car. That didn't sound like your car, did it?
No, it sounds like an old beater dropping the clutch and doing some burnouts in the backwoods. It reminds me of something I was doing a couple weeks ago with this beater car I have laying around. We don't have to talk too much about it, but it
sounds interesting. I'm going to go down this path. Let's go.
I mean, it just sounded something like a lot like the car that I've been messing around with that I've pulled out of someone's yard, and it's like, wow, that sounded a lot like my car. But
you hear that sound in your sleep, probably, don't you? Yeah.
No, I mean, it's fine. My neighbors hear it in their sleep because that's when I probably do it, when they're taking their rests for the night.
Have you gotten that, hey, you kids, hold it down from somebody in the neighborhood yet? Anything like that?
So back in my more, let's call it wild days, when I was single and before I got a little bit more where I need to be.
Yeah.
There was a Facebook group in my neighborhood, and I didn't even know about it because I didn't care. I don't really use Facebook too terribly much.
Yeah, me neither.
I spend most of my time on Instagram and Twitter. So it turns out,
you were that guy?
There was like years worth of good stuff of people complaining like crazy.
And
it
was you?
It was me every single time.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was basically,
you were the neighborhood villain.
I was neighborhood villain.
Wow.
Yeah. I was the youngest guy in there, though. But I was the first guy in there, so you know what? They chose to move in there, go somewhere else.
It's like when these people move next to a racetrack and complain about the noise.
Yeah,
it's like,
I mean,
you knew it was there.
They knew I was there.
Yeah.
They knew what they were getting into, and they still decided to move in there. That's on them, honestly.
All right, let's talk about a little bit of racing now. You started off the season very strong, and I read an article, I think it was in NBC's site, where you said you were a little surprised about how solidly you guys had started the season. Obviously, everybody would want to win a little bit more, but why would that surprise you?
I mean, even with having some of the best cars you could every single weekend, it's crazy to imagine, even if, I mean, it's just crazy to have, I think 7 or 8 straight top 5s or whatever we're going on right now. And our only finish outside the top 10 was when we wrecked going for the win at Vegas. So, I mean, that in itself is crazy.
The key phrase there is going for the win.
Yeah. I know. If I probably could have, ran top 5 from Daytona on if I just would have been, a little bit more reserved and not wanted to be Kyle Busch, which that's silly. So I'm going to go for it every time. But yeah, it's just crazy. We've ran really well. Our average finish is 4 point something, and our only finish outside the top 10 is when we wrecked going for the win. So I mean, we haven't been the fastest every weekend, but we've been able to get some really good finishes even on days where we've not had the best of cars.
And that's how you win a championship, as you found out last year. You got to be there, must be present to win, right?
Yeah, you got to run like this in the playoffs, and as I'm sure a lot of people are aware, and for those that aren't, I ran like a joke all year long. It seemed like from Daytona on, we weren't great. We didn't get the finishes. We were really fast at times, and as I go back, I kind of remember how fast I was, and then I wrecked right here. Pretty much every race from this point until the playoffs just about start. It's like, oh, okay, we're running better than I remembered. It's like, oh, yep, I just wrecked. All right, yep, I need not do that next time. So that's been kind of the story.
Write that down in your notebook.
Pretty much, yeah. So hopefully we can just run like we are right now when it's in the playoffs, and we'll be in really good shape.
You said a lot last year that there were some things that you were learning and evolving on as you go on, and one of the things that you talked about was being hard on the car in practice, or getting yourself into a bind before you got to the main event. Is that part of the evolution and why you think you guys are off to a good start this year? What you've learned to this point?
I would say yes, but there's been a few races, few events we've been at the practice sessions where we've tore some stuff up in practice. California, we scraped the right side up pretty good, tore up the transmission. So some of those tendencies have still been there, but we haven't had to go to a backup car. We've had to stay a little bit longer at the end of practice to fix the car, but it hasn't happened as much as it has last year. And the guys are just doing a really good job right now. Randall Burnett and all the guys back at the shop doing a good job of bringing really good baseline setups. And the adjustments we've made have normally been for the better, and we've been really close, so we haven't had to take giant swings at it to try and find some speed. And that's where I think we would get ourselves in trouble last year. Me and Dave would be very disappointed because we want to be, we want to be one of the best cars, even in practice.
Win everything, practice and qualifying in every stage.
That's just the way it is. You don't want to ever settle.
That's a racer.
we would just make some aggressive swings at times, and he would get frustrated. I would get frustrated, and I'd just be like, I'm just going to drive at 120%. And this Charlotte race a year ago, we were that way. We were like 15th, 16th on the board, just like, oh, man, this isn't good. And we just couldn't make our car work. So I said, tag with it. I'm going to go up in that traction compound and just keep going higher and higher. And, me and Dave were very frustrated because we were terrible. And I'm just like, I'm just going to drive the heck out of it. And I got second on the board.
See what happens.
Got second on the board. I'm like, okay, well, that's not too bad. And the next lap I wrecked it. So, you don't want to do that, especially in practice. But I mean, that's what happened to us a lot last year. And, going through those rough times has made it easier and made me a little bit smarter going back to these races.
You mentioned social media a little while ago, and then you're talking about Dave Allen's your former crew chief. I saw on social media where you had gone back to junior motorsports where you were last year when you won the championship to do a ring championship type ceremony. That had to be pretty cool and maybe a little awkward at the same time because you're with a different team now.
Yeah, you beat me to it. It was really, really cool. Good friends with a lot of those people over there, but at the same time, it's like you can't help but feel a little awkward because that's where you're racing against them now.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's no secret I've been running better. It's just the stats are there. And, I wouldn't say there's really been anything that's been crazy different. I've just been smarter. And unfortunately for Dave and those guys, they went through the rougher periods. And,
the learning curve.
And they had to, they had to, unfortunately get me set. And in the playoffs, we ran like we should have. So, yeah, it is unfortunate to go over there and be like, why are you, can you slow down a little bit? I mean, it's unfortunate, but I mean, everyone's always trying their best. It wasn't a lack of effort over there. We were trying really hard, and I think for a lot of the year, I was trying way too hard all the time, and I just had to bring it back a little bit. Me and Dave found it in the playoffs, and from there, the rest was history.
Is this environment now where you win a championship and wind up going to a different team, that just seems so odd? And you've seen all the stuff like in the truck series with Johnny Sauter, and then at all levels, really. How crazy is the environment of musical chairs out there right now?
Well, it's just getting crazier by the day because the further and further we seem to go into the future, the further it seems to go the direction of sponsorship dollars and keeping the partners on your car are almost more important than winning races and going out there and winning championships. And it's crazy that's
backwards from what everybody comes up seeing.
Exactly. So it's crazy it's come to that point. But we'll see where it goes. Obviously, I don't think it's going to stay this way. But it's crazy that it's at the point it is right now. It's definitely not what it used to be.
Yeah.
But I was a dirt guy, so there was no, jumping from one team to the other, really. You just kind of ran your own stuff. So, yeah, it's been wild for me to see, especially being this close to NASCAR and being involved in it.
You mentioned your dirt background. We're going to take a quick break now, but I wanted to ask you some stuff about that because I think there are some things from that world that are starting to creep into the NASCAR side that are pretty cool. So we'll take a break here on MRN Out Loud. Come back with more of Tyler Reddick after this.
Here's your chance to win a set of your very own Hercules tires. Go to HerculesTires.com/MRN. Simply register, and each month we'll give away one set of tires. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading mileage coverage to get you wherever you need to go, no matter where the road takes you. Register now for your chance to win a set of Hercules tires at HerculesTires.com/MRN. Hercules Tires. Ride on our street.
G'day, America. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. That's right, Outback Delivery is here. Now you can enjoy all your Outback favourites anywhere. Our signature centre-cut sirloin at home.
It's here.
Or game day party platters with Kookaburra wings that'll have both teams cheering.
It's here.
Or steak and lobster for a date night at home.
It's here.
Head over to Outback.com and place your orders because Outback Delivery is here. Outback Steakhouse. Aussie rules. Delivery availability varies. Delivery charge may apply.
When the racing concludes each weekend, keep up with the non-stop NASCAR news each weekday on NASCAR Today Midday.
The drafting type races I've always excelled in, so that's where I see a tremendous advantage.
I think it was very important for us to get Martin and to get Cole, both of those as a group, because they're very good at what they do.
NASCAR Today Midday, Monday through Friday on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Back on MRN Out Loud with Tyler Reddick's beater car revving up in the background as we go.
That one actually sounded more like a NASCAR stock car.
Yeah,
that one sounded like a V8.
Yeah.
That was a little bit different.
The other one sounded like somebody's street car for sure.
Yeah.
I got to give you that. All right, we were talking a little bit. You mentioned your dirt background, and I remember a couple of years ago walking the track with you at Eldora talking about how this means and what that means and what it looks like, and you were kind of telling me what to look for and that type of stuff. But that dirt background, the whole heat race thing that's come into the truck side, when we race at Eldora, the vibe of the All-Star race in the open kind of has that feel to it right now. These shorter bursts of activity followed with a little bit of break where you can kind of, yuck it up with your friends and stuff seems to be creeping toward NASCAR, and I think that's a good thing. How do you view it?
Well, honestly, if I was just now coming into NASCAR from dirt racing, I would say yes.
Yeah.
But now that I've been around it a couple years, it's just me, and maybe I'm maybe a little bit more old-fashioned, and maybe I'm out of time, but I like some of the longer races, the longer green flag runs where the tires fall off, you have heat, everything gets hot. You're just the driver's fighting the car from lap 1 to lap 40 on that tire run, and the car's changing almost every single lap. That to me is a fan of NASCAR and a fan of driving these cars.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I enjoy the most seeing is those drivers have to really work at it. Like 30, 40 laps into a run when the leader's checked out and the guy in second's running them down. That kind of stuff that you see at Darlington, some of these racetrack, that gets me more excited than seeing some of these restarts where there's 3 and 4 wide. But
yeah,
that's just me. I'm not today's NASCAR fan. So
no, but I mean, you see a lot of stuff about guys who even if they come from an asphalt background and they're Saturday night short tracks, they don't do pit stops, and the races are much shorter. There's that adjustment period there as well. But what I'm getting at is, do you think that there are some things that are successful in the dirt world that could also be successful on the NASCAR side?
Yeah, absolutely. They went back to the single car qualifying, 1 lap at the mile and above and 2 laps at the shorter. And obviously I have really no power to kind of, insert my opinion and it really do anything. But I thought it would have been really cool to try like a heat race format for qualifying. And, people are like, well, no one wants to tear their cars up. Like, well, make it worth tearing cars up.
Like you saw in the open. There you go.
There we go.
Open for the All-Star. Crashing everything down.
Award stage points, award playoff points. The people that win like I wouldn't say their heat race, but I thought it'd be really cool to have, you could make it short enough to where you have like X amount of heat races, 4 or 5, whatever.
Yeah.
You award playoff points, and first or the top 2 from that go to like a trophy dash, and they race for additional playoff points or stage points, and the winner of that wins a playoff point. I think that's worth it. And if the guys tear their cars up, let them work on them, fix them.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been really cool. It would have been a good experiment because I feel like a lot of people like the All-Star format and the short bursts.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, a short race, stack them back up, let them go. I mean, that would have been a really good test, I think, if you had heat races where people were racing for stage points and playoff points. People would have put on the line and, been aggressive. So I would wish we would have saw it. Hopefully, maybe one day we will. But, single car qualifying is something I think, again, some of the more veteran NASCAR fans and drivers really appreciate. I came into this sport. I was right when I came in, it was group qualifying and the round qualifying.
Right, so that's all you've done on this
so
side.
I have no idea what it's all about.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that could add some more excitement to it for sure. Let's talk about the upcoming races. You mentioned a while back that you thought this stretch was going to be really key to the season with Charlotte, Pocono, and Michigan. Let's talk about Pocono. Is that a place where you've got to give up something in one of these corners to be good in the other 2, or do you try and be sort of good in all 3?
I think, back further into time before everyone has gotten as smart as they are now with these race cars and getting the splitters the right height and just everything they got now. Yes, I think you kind of had to sacrifice one thing more to be better in the other corner.
Because they're so different.
Yes, I think some of that still applies. But everyone's gotten really, really good at setting up these race cars and making them go really fast. So I don't think it's as bad as it used to be. But for sure, going into Pocono, this will be my first time driving what we call the current XFinity car. Last year when we were there, we had the drag ducks.
That's right. The
the
experiment last year. Yeah.
For what the Cup guys are doing now. And it was a lot different than what it's going to be when we go back. So this will be my first time there. Cole and some of the other guys, Justin, that I'm racing against for points, have got a race under their belt where they've been there and know what it feels like. I'm going in there with nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to be like, and I'm going to have to figure it out in practice. Same at Michigan. I think I got one race there back at Chip Ganasky, but I was just out to lunch. I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, you had good equipment there, but a lot of guys say that Michigan, the speed is something, you go to Daytona or Talladega, and obviously the numbers with the speed are way up. But when you go to a place like Michigan, a lot of drivers say that's where you really feel it. Does that apply to you as well?
Yeah, I mean, the banking really holds you in the car, and you don't have the sensation of speed at a place like, Daytona or Talladega. But at Michigan, when you're driving off into the corner and you're right on the edge of a really hard racetrack on a hard tire that's kind of flat, it's just all grip or no grip,
Yeah.
it's edgy. And it's kind of unsettling at first. So definitely getting that feel right away is going to be key, and knowing that feel early in practice and knowing the limit of the car not going over, it's going to be very important in Michigan, because as we often see at Michigan, you can't really slide it around the racetrack there, so you got to keep it underneath you, or you could be ending your day pretty quickly. So places like Pocono and Michigan, where you got incredible speeds going down the straightaway, and just knowing how far to drive without going too far, because you have a very long straightaway at the other end to pay a penalty if you go too deep into the corner.
Yeah, that won't be good. That'll be a bad end to your day. We mentioned at the top you're the defending Xfinity Series championship, and I saw where you're taking the trophy around, kind of like the hockey guys do with the Stanley Cup, and doing a selfie challenge with Pocono. What's up with that?
Yeah, I was talking to some of the guys about that when we were in Philadelphia, and they asked me if I'd be interested in doing it. I'm like, absolutely. And it's kind of funny because Jeff Gluck, a couple weeks ago at Talladega, we did that 12 questions deal. And he's like, if you had a minute, what would you rather do? A autograph, a picture, or them ask you a question? I'm like, you can do all three, but it's really cool that we're trying this. This is my first time doing this like selfie autograph session.
Yeah.
Apparently, a lot of people liked it last year. That's what they were telling me, and I'm really excited to be able to do it. So I'm interested to see how many pictures I can take and how many people turn out. Right away, like sold out. Everyone, you had to like pre-register for it, and it was like they put up, "Hey, we're doing it," and about an hour later, it was,
"Here we go.
Hey, we're done. All right, we're filled up. Thanks for entering." So
yeah,
I guess people really want to take a picture with me.
That's going to be really cool. So I got to ask you this. I was at Charlotte last week when the trucks were racing, talking with Ross Chastain. And we went to get him in the garage and go to the hauler to do the interview. We come out, and there's this guy standing there with one of these papoose carriers with his baby and his wife standing there. And he asked Ross, "Will you sign my baby?" He meant the shirt, but he said, "Will you sign my baby?" So what's the weirdest thing someone's ever asked you to sign that you have agreed to sign?
Honestly, probably can't say it on air. I'm going to be
really
quite honest with you.
Oh, my gosh. And you did it?
It was inappropriate.
And you did it?
Inappropriate. Yeah.
You did, and you did it.
It wasn't a human body part. Okay.
Like that,
All
right. Well, that's kind of.
I don't know. It's kind of like one of those things. Like, can you say that on air or not? But I was very taken back by it. But it was interesting. It wasn't as bad as I thought initially. They used them for races down slides, but I'm sure you're catching my drift.
Oh boy! I mean, how long did you hesitate before? Sure, I'll do it.
Not right away.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I was 15, 16 years old. I was just like, oh, that's awesome. I'll sign that.
Teenagers do the darndest things, don't they?
They sure do.
Fantastic.
They never learn.
Tyler, we appreciate your time. Great start to the season. Continued success, man.
Absolutely. I had a blast coming in here and talking to you.
You bet, man. All right, we'll take a quick break here on MRN Out Loud. When we come back, Cole Custer will join us.
G'day, America. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. That's right. Outback Delivery is here. Now you can enjoy all your Outback favourites anywhere. Our signature centre cut sirloin at home.
It's here.
Or game day party platters with Kookaburra wings that'll have both teams cheering.
It's here.
Or steak and lobster for a date night at home.
It's here.
Head over to Outback.com and place your orders because Outback Delivery is here. Outback Steakhouse. Aussie rules. Delivery availability varies. Delivery charge may apply.
Hi folks, Mike Bagley here. At MRN, we rely on equipment from Racing Electronics.
Joey Logano to the lead on the back straightaway.
Racing Electronics has scanners and headphones. We can listen to every uncensored conversation between driver and crew.
You won the championship, baby, yeah!
And when we need live audio, in-car cameras, and up-to-the-second statistics, we use their latest handheld unit called Legend. To learn more about these products and many others, visit racingelectronics.com. Racing Electronics, the official two-way communication partner of MRN. Join Motor Racing Network every Tuesday night for NASCAR Live. Get the latest news and exclusive interviews from the biggest names in the sport.
But I mean, I don't know how to summarize it any better that, a driver's home track where his family and friends are all present just feels like a bigger event.
Hear the thoughts and opinions from NASCAR insiders and much more.
I mean, when people come up to me all the time and say, "Hey, Rusty, who's going to win this week?" I consistently say the 4-car.
It's NASCAR Live every Tuesday evening at 7 Eastern on the Motor Racing Network.
Back on MRN Out Loud, checking some Xfinity drivers out as we get set to head to Pocono in Michigan next on their schedule. Joey Myers on special assignment. Cole Custer's joining us in the studio now. And Cole, man, you guys have had a really solid start to the season. Multiple wins already. That's got to make you feel good about making it back to that Final Four.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've started the year out strong and probably stronger than I thought we would. I thought it was going to be a work in progress, but we really hit our feet running, and it's just a matter of getting the little things right. And I think we still have a little bit to go to maybe catch the 20 car and be the best car in the series, but I think we're riding their heels right now, and we can just try and work on what we're doing.
The one that jumped out at me was at Auto Club, and you beat Kyle Busch to keep him at that time from getting number 200. You know, a lot of fans say, oh, he's coming in there and racing in all these lower series, but every single driver we've talked to says, no, bring him on. I want to race him. How do you feel?
I think, honestly, the Xfinity Series has it right, and NASCAR has it right now with how they limit the Cup drivers. I think it makes it good where we have our own kind of races, just Xfinity guys, because I think we put on some better racing, and it kind of puts our names out there a little bit more. But then also you have the races where you get to race against Kyle Busch, and you get to race against Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick and all those guys, and it makes it so you get to learn from them. Because if you didn't get to race against them, you're not going to be learning from them, and you're not going to know where the standard's at. Yeah. So it's I think they have a good mix right now.
Personally, for you though, does that give you a little bit of extra? Yeah, I beat one of the best.
For sure. I mean, whenever you get to beat Kyle Busch, who's going to go down as one of the best in our sport.
I mean, he's going to the Hall of Fame. Let's be honest.
I mean, you guys won 200 races.
Right.
So it was definitely pretty huge to get to beat him, and it's something I'll never forget.
Before we get into a little more racing, I gotta ask you about your podcast series, your social media deal, Cold Custard. Tell me how this idea came about. Obviously, it's a play on the name, but how did it come about?
For whatever reason, I mean, everybody just has started comparing my name to like Cold Custard or Mustard or whatever. So.
I heard a kid say that one time. Oh, there goes Cold Custard.
So we just did this like video series where I review custard. And
were you an expert before?
No, not really. I mean, it's like ice cream, so I mean, you just kind of figure it out. It's kind of hard it's hard to give a bad score, honestly. I mean,
it's all good.
How are you supposed to give custard a bad score? But it's something that's been fun, and get to show my personality a little bit.
What have you learned that you didn't know before about custard? Anything in particular, or has it just kind of been a fun experience to enjoy it?
It's been tasty. I'm probably gaining some pounds for sure, but it's a little bit thicker than ice cream, and it melts faster. So that's been one of the difficulties, I guess, and obstacles when doing these reviews.
I saw you had Michael Waltrip on one with you. How are you arranging the logistics of the place to go and the person to go with you?
It was pretty easy to do with Michael. Obviously, he's a big TV personality, and he was one of the nicest guys ever. So he was able to come on our show, and we met at Rita's, which is really close to the Fox FS1 studios. So that it just all worked out good, and I don't know, it was fun to do with him.
A lot of fun. That's what I think people really want to see more of, is you guys being yourselves and having some fun and enjoying things out there. Going forward though, are there some places or people in mind that you're really kind of targeting to get on the series?
I don't really know. I mean, don't really have any huge plans with it right now. We're just kind of, you're reviewing custard. It's not,
it's not a big thing, but it's fun though. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah, it's not a huge thought out thing, but it's something cool, and I don't know. We'll probably try and get some stuff on the road. Going to different places and just maybe have some other drivers on it and stuff like that.
What kind of feedback have you been getting from fans and people who are watching it?
Everything.
Want more?
Everything's been really good, surprisingly. Yeah. I mean, it's something that's really simple and kind of stupid, but it's
that's what people want.
Yeah, that's what people want. Yeah. So it's something that maybe eventually you're gonna have to end it, but I think it's for right now. I mean, I think it's something that's really fun to do.
One of the things that I also was really interested in is when you guys went up to Philly to do the Philly takeover to promote the upcoming Pocono race. That's got to be just a blast to do a burnout on the streets of a big city like that.
Yeah, the Philly takeover for the Xfinity Series is always one of the best events that we have, honestly, just because there's so many. It's so cool having the cars on the streets and doing the burnouts, and all the people are running down from the buildings trying to go watch and staring out the windows. So I think it's just so cool to go up there and see all the people, see what NASCAR is all about.
What were the crowds like that were kind of hanging around you guys? Because you guys bounced to a bunch of different places.
Yeah, I mean, especially when we did the rides, with the cars through the downtown, that was pretty huge with the people staying on the side of the roads, through the whole city and everything. So it's pretty crazy. I mean, I think they do a great job with it every year.
Now, I saw something, and I'm not sure if you were involved in it or you actually shot the video. Did Chase Briscoe get into an Uber car in his driver suit? Did that really happen?
Yeah, that was me and him. We I shot the video. So we were actually going to do, and it's going to come out soon, a Cold Custard review. And we were in our fire suits, so we took an Uber and a fire suit to that Cold Custard place. So I've never done that before, so that was interesting.
Did the driver give you a double take? Like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
He didn't know what was going on.
Was he a race fan at all?
No. So it was he was kind of confused, I think, but he took us to our destination, so I was happy with it.
Yeah, everything worked out in the end in the long run. Talking about the race coming up at Pocono, we'll talk a little bit more about it. But to me, the thing that jumps out is last year you guys were kind of guinea pigs with those drag ducks, and this year you'll go back to normal racing there. How do you think that might play out?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it's really fun to run Pocono when you get to shift and you get to carry a lot of speed and figure out the 3 corners. So I'm looking forward to it. We ran the regular package 2 years ago and we were pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those tracks that's so hard to figure out just because the corners are all different. And if you miss just a little bit, it kills you down the whole straightaway. So it's a really tough place to figure out, but I think that's what makes it fun.
Is that one of the tracks that is just not conducive to that package because you have more off throttle time? Or is it something that might work with tweaks, you think?
I think the problem is that it's just so single lane there and it's so flat. It's you're going to be running the bottom, so you can't really fan out like you can at like Charlotte or Kansas or places like that. You can run 3 or 4 wide through the corners. Where Pocono, if you're on the 3rd lane on the outside, you're going to lose 5 spots. So it's just, I think it's just not really meant for that track as a single lane.
Is you mentioned you can be a little bit off and do it. Are you a guy when you're trying to set up the car? Do you at Pocono try to be pretty good in all 3 or really good in a couple and give up one?
I don't know. I mean, you can't be bad in any. Every corner has to be manageable. But I think you're going to give up a lot of time in probably turn 3 and the tunnel turn if you're not good.
Mm-hmm.
Turn 1, I feel like you can kind of manage a little bit, but it's I don't know. I haven't really gone through my notes and looked at it all, but it's
right. And then you're going back 2 years ago now to get to your accurate notes.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's always interesting though. But nowadays, I mean, you can't really give up a corner.
Yeah, and at any place really.
Yeah.
I mean, but they're so different though. You're not going to be probably anyway, unless you're going to just walk away from the field great in every corner because they're so different.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everybody has kind of like their one corner that's their strong suit, and one guy's usually better in one corner than the other. So it's just it makes it interesting because guys are gonna make runs on each other throughout the whole course and everything, and it's gonna fan out by the end of it.
All right, we're going to take a quick time out here on MRN Out Loud. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the Xfinity Series season, the upcoming schedule, and a lot more. Stay with us.
G'day, America. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. That's right, Outback Delivery is here. Now you can enjoy all your Outback favourites anywhere. Our signature centre cut sirloin at home.
It's here.
Or game day party platters with kookaburra wings that'll have both teams cheering.
It's here.
Or steak and lobster for a date night at home.
It's here.
Head over to Outback.com and place your orders because Outback Delivery is here. Outback Steakhouse. Aussie rules. Delivery availability varies. Delivery charge may apply.
He is the envy of the racing world.
I assumed that Ryan, Bubba, and Chase were all busy, and I was the next in the pecking order.
She goes way back.
When did you meet? 7th grade, 6th grade?
No, 9th grade. That was a minute ago.
And he just wants to be friends.
Are we friends? No.
It's the Sunday Money Podcast. Join Corey LaJoy, Daryl Mott, and Lauren Fox as they detail what it's like to live the racing lifestyle both on and off the track. Download and subscribe to Sunday Money on iTunes, Spotify, and your favorite podcast platform.
It's butts and nuts jammed in there.
The battle for the 2019 championship will be filled with twists and turns.
We got to kind of calm down for these speedway races because you can use the bumper, but you end up taking 10 other people with you.
Each weekday, NASCAR Today brings you the top stories in the sport.
That's a totally different experience for me and Cup.
In the garage, at the track, or behind the scenes, NASCAR Today keeps you up to speed every weekday.
Go for it. What do we got to lose? I don't know. I mean, you might as well try it, right?
Back on MRN Out Loud, Cole Custer is joining us. Joey Meyer on special assignment, talking some Xfinity racing as they get set to head to Pocono and then Michigan after that. One more thing on Pocono that's going to be really cool next year when they combine everything into a 2-cup race on a weekend schedule. Have you ever done anything like that before or been around an event like that before?
I don't know. I mean, there's definitely been series I've done double headers before. I can't really remember the last time I've done that, but I think it'll be really cool. I mean, having 2 races on a weekend and really condensing it all, I guess I would say.
And trucks and Xfinity and ARCA,
people in Pocono are going to get their money, that's for sure, on that weekend.
Absolutely, that's going to be crazy.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think I applaud NASCAR for doing it and, taking, the initiative to try something different for sure.
What do you think about that whole trying something different thing? Because I think everybody is kind of coming to the realization that what worked years ago is not going to work now. And you're seeing, like I was talking with Tyler Reddick earlier about the vibe that the All-Star Open had, kind of that heat race feel to it, trying different things like that. I mean, it seems like we've got to get there somehow, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Open was a great race. Everybody thought so, and it was the heat race, the format that they had worked out really great and had really great finishes. So I don't know. It's just I think they're trying to make changes as we go, and eventually they're going to figure it out where it's perfect, hopefully.
Yeah.
But
get the porridge just right.
Yeah, but I think they're slowly trying to make changes with the schedule and the cars and stuff like that, and they're just trying to hit everything and try and hit their marks and not just check every box.
A little bit of schedule tweaking for next year. We talked about Pocono, some rearranging, so to speak, but everybody's talking about the year after that is when we might see some real changes. Is there a bucket list track out there that you'd love to run a NASCAR race on that we don't currently go to?
I mean, I think it would be really cool to run IRP. That was just a race that I always watched growing up, and it was put on great racing, so I would love to race there. But there's so many great short tracks. I mean, like, the Nashville Fairgrounds, it sounds like they're in pre-series with that. And
let's hope so. That was always a cool visit anyway.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think, if the Cup Series went to Iowa, I think that would be awesome. That's one of the best tracks that we go to, I think.
Designed by a driver, so that kind of helps.
It puts on such great racing. I mean, it's for every single driver. So I think it would be, there's a lot of great tracks that we can go to.
Looking ahead now beyond Pocono, we go to Michigan, and a lot of things guys say is, you can look at the numbers and the stats, and you're really hauling the mail at Daytona and Talladega, but a lot of drivers say you really feel it more at Michigan. Does that hold true for you?
Yeah, for sure. It's you're going fast at Michigan. It's still a really big and wide racetrack, but there's so much grip, and you still have to make it through the corner. And you have to lift a little bit, so it makes it you're still on the edge of control the whole time. It's never been my favorite place, just because it's so aero dependent, really, and just so fast. But it's a hard place to figure out, but it's something I just have to work on. Really.
I mean, is that something where you really in the seat go, oh my gosh, we're really getting after it here?
When you sit back, and
feeling
think about
it mashing you down to the seat.
Yeah, like when you sit back and think about it, like at the end of the straightaway, it's like, man, if something went wrong here, it's not going to be good. So that's when like once I feel like 180, 170, you don't really get the sensation of going really fast, like at the mile and a halves. But once you get up to about 200, like at Michigan and Fontana, that's where you really start to feel like you're going pretty fast.
Yeah. One other future event coming up before we wrap up. I always look forward to it because it's different and fun. The so-called road course season for the Xfinity side. Are you a guy who enjoys that, or is it something you just get through?
Yeah, I love the road course season. Obviously, we do like 3 in a row almost, and but the problem is with it. Like I love road course racing, but you never know what to expect when you go into one. So it's kind of like there's so much stuff that happens on the restarts and the strategies and everything that goes on. You can't really have expectations, I guess. You just got to have, you're going to go in there and race as hard as you can, do your best, but anything can happen.
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember if you were in this one or not. A couple years ago, the monsoon at Mid-Ohio, did you run that one?
I wasn't in that one. I watched it on TV.
Gosh, was that nuts or what?
It was insane. I mean, watching the guys try and navigate through that. Yeah, and there's that too. Like when you go into road course season, it could rain, changes everything.
And you're still going.
Yeah.
You're going to go.
There's so many different variables when you go to road courses.
It's going to be a lot of fun for sure. All right. Listen, Cole, we appreciate your time. Great start to the season, continued success, and look forward to catching up with you in the playoffs because you're going.
I appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us on this edition of MRN Out Loud, special Memorial Day edition, and we'll be back with you next week.